live. This is Law Call.
And welcome to Law Call. Tonight is 700. We're celebrating 750 shows. We haven't really kept count. We're somewhere between 750 and 800 shows. Got my law partner here, the partner in crime, the guy who started it all with us back in 2009, Chris Young. Man, I tell you what, it's been a long time. 15 years ago. 15 years ago, we started this program up here in Panama City. We are now simulcasting WDHN up in Dothan, Alabama. We also live stream on Facebook. The lines are open. You can ask us anything, 850-392-1544, or you can email us at lawcall@WMBB. Chris, I mean, what have we done here? I mean, we've created a monster.
Well, it's good too, you know. I mean,
I
don't have much of a voice left. I mean, I'm still.
What is this, Go Tiger stuff?
Yeah, let's Go Tigers last night. You know, I mean, my voice is about shot for tonight, but you know, Larry, 15 years and you know, a little over 750 shows is, Lord knows. I mean, when we first did this back in 2009, we were like, my goodness, what are we doing?
Yeah,
you know?
And thanks to loyal viewers who have watched us throughout the Panhandle. I mean, folks like Gary and Miss Pam. I mean, you got a lot of faithful people out there.
We got a great station to work with too.
Well, we do, except we can't get Chris Golden to come out here with us. He's been the guy who's been here for more shows than any of us.
Maybe we should petition that.
I think we should. Chris Golden, come on out. Show yourself. Come on, buddy. He's on the phone already.
He's on call.
All right.
Well, Larry, it's Ask Us Anything tonight. Phone lines are open, 850-392-1544. You can always email us at lawcall@wmbb.com if you don't feel like you want to go on the air. But I think it's been a while since you and I've done the show together.
It has.
You know,
it has.
And
well, I know it's been at least 6 months. I was out, with my medical stuff. And,
right.
You've been on the road and all over the place the last couple of months, and it's glad to have you back in the studio.
They've had Ted and Les and Connors and Lance and little taste of
and a lot of great guests too.
Yeah,
I mean, one night we need to just say
have
everybody here, kind of have like a little party in house and just have everybody have a good time here. But folks, the lines are open, 850-392-1544. It's Ask Us Anything. Usually this time of these types of questions, I mean, there's no telling what we get. Of course, we've got our friends who are watching too, and I think that's what they're trying to do is make sure that our friends just don't call up with some crazy questions tonight. But we do have an email question. Let's go to that real fast. We've got one about a contractor here. There you go. Chris, you want to take it?
If I can read this thing here. I had a contractor do work in my house. This was almost 2 years ago. Their equipment tore the dirt up and exposed an electrical wire going to my pool. I didn't see it and tripped over the wire. I messed up both of my wrists. But I didn't get an MRI for a few months. When the pain started to get worse, I ended up needing surgery. My question is, with a 2-year statute of limitations, does a clock start when I fell or when I found out I needed surgery? And is a contractor liable? Well, Larry, the SOL,
I tell you, you got to get in and see somebody quickly because we don't know because there was a change in the law in the state of Florida.
So whatever year this happened, whenever you tripped, it could be 4 years or it could be the 2-year statute.
Right, but the statute of limitations begins, kind of from the fall.
Right.
I mean, even though the condition was created before, there's no damage, so there's not a cause of action that's created until you have the fall. And of course, if this occurs in Alabama, because we don't know where Todd is, Alabama has a hard 2-year statute of limitations, and that's been that way for many, many years. Georgia has a 2-year statute of limitations as well. So you got to basically set your statute of limitations at 2 years, and it's from the date of the injury.
And you work back from there, but one thing that's glaring to me with Todd's situation here, he's seen that, well, at least the question poses that he intimates that he knew about this electrical wire being exposed.
Right.
And no matter if it's a hazard to you or not, if it's on your property, if you knew about this and you could see it, you've been walking around it for the last year or two after the contractor was there, well, then you're more likely than not going to have a cause of action because you knew or should have known that wire was there.
Right. In Alabama, it's called an open and obvious condition, and now that's being translated into Florida. And if you're greater than 50% responsible in the state of Florida, you're not going to be able to recover. If you're even partially responsible in the state of Alabama, that's called contributory negligence, and your claim will be barred that way. So, Todd, you need to get in and seek an attorney, and let's get some more information so we can kind of flesh that out.
A lot of sensitive dates, number one.
Right.
And then, dealing on who the contractor was. Did Todd know or was it open and obvious? Did he know about it? But there's a lot of information. But like I say, Larry, just get in to talk to somebody, get a personal injury firm like ours that doesn't charge you anything. We work on a contingency fee basis and basically means we will evaluate your case and we'll even represent you with no money up front, and we don't get paid or recover anything until we recover, and make a recovery or judgment for our clients.
Yeah,
and so it's one of the best deals out there.
It's one of the best things out there. Yeah, it's free. Take advantage of it. We've got a caller on the line. We got Cynthia from Panama City. Cynthia, how can we help you tonight?
No question tonight. I just wanted to say congratulations on your 15 years, and thank you for all that you do for Panama City and this community. There's never anything too small or too big that you don't step forward to help the community with, including personal things. So thank you and congratulations to both of you. Have a blessed night.
Thank you. Thanks, Cynthia. You think you could give us a go Tide? I mean, go Tigers?
No, or a roll Tide.
Roll Tide or go Tigers?
No, I don't know. If it's a Cynthia, I know the answer is no.
Okay.
But look, Cynthia, thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. And Chris, she talks about the things we do in the community, and we just sponsored the Suicide Awareness Seminar. I had a speaking engagement with the Good Timers group over at St. Andrew's Baptist this past week. We've had the Pregnancy Resource Center, which we've helped out just in the last few weeks, and then we've got the Perry and Young Scholarship Foundation, or the Perry and Young Foundation, where in the springtime we give out scholarships. We got the Scholar Athlete program that we do here with WMBB. Lots of little things that we also do, and some things that we promote, some things we do privately. I mean,
Right.
that's the
Right.
And we don't do it to. We do it to help the kids, or we help somebody along the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of deliberate things we do for advertising.
Right. Yeah.
But there's a lot of things.
I mean, we got the buses and the billboards, and
Right.
we've got the LawCall show, and we've got
But
commercials.
there's there's a lot of things that we do, or some things we do we don't talk about, and we just do them. But Cynthia, that's one of the kindest compliments that we will ever receive in our profession, and I just can't thank you enough on behalf of me and Larry and our entire firm for your kind words. It does mean a lot, and that gives us a lot of energy to start tomorrow morning and hit the ground running to know that there's good people out there that appreciate what we do.
Yeah.
Larry, we did have a caller that called in, and they didn't want to go on the phone, but this is going to be your area of expertise, and they need a little bit more clarity and understanding about a statute of limitations in medical malpractice cases.
All right.
So let's just assume this is going to be Florida, okay?
All right. So statute of limitations in a medical malpractice case is typically 2 years, unless it cannot be discovered within that 2-year period of time. And you say, well, how can it not be discovered? Well, one of the for instances is a retained foreign instrument, scissors, clamps, something like that. And you say, oh my gosh, how in the world can that happen? It still happens today where, during a surgical procedure, something's left inside of the human body and they don't know what it is. And it may be weeks or months or even sometimes a year later before it's discovered. So you have a 2-year statute of limitations from either the date of the incident, the date you knew or should have known, or the date of discovery, but no more than 4 years. And so, Chris, not too long ago, or actually earlier this year, we had a case where somebody came in, they had a retained portion of a clamp that wasn't supposed to be in their system.
Right.
Unfortunately, it had been in their system, been inside their body for 6 years.
Wow.
And, we had to decline the case because it was outside that 4-year total time period that you could do that with. So it's a little confusing, but just assume it's 2 years. And then after that, 2 years beyond discovery, but then you need to talk with an attorney who does medical malpractice, who can understand the nuances of it, and may be able to fit you in one of those time periods with your statute of limitations. In the state of Alabama, it's a hard 2 years, again, unless it could not have been discovered in that 2-year period, but it's a 2-year statute of limitations. And the same way with the state of Georgia, 2 years.
So Larry, it's really important that you can have an understanding of statute of limitations, but by all means seek out professional help to make sure that you rely upon somebody else's expertise to actually establish what we refer to as the SOL, but the statute of limitation, what it actually is. Now, on the flip side, why that's so important is people think, and we've had this asked to us, well, what happens if my case doesn't settle within that 2-year period? Am I forever barred? No, the filing of a cause of action. Now, there's a few more filings that you have to do with, discovery periods with medical malpractice. But once you actually file suit in your medical malpractice claims, it preserves your statute.
And with any claim. And also something special in the state of Florida, you can file for a 90-day automatic extension on the statute of limitations in a medical malpractice case. And as a matter of routine, that's what we do. When a case comes in, we file for that extra 90 days. It's automatically granted. It's the only statute of limitations in all 3 states that can be extended just by the simple filing of a court document, and it's automatically granted.
Now, some of that also is Because these cases take a long time to prosecute. I believe you resolved one this past week.
Right.
That had been going on
for
since
years.
For 2018, I think it was.
Well, incident occurred in 2018. We didn't get the case till 2019, and
Right.
but it took 5 years.
It took that long to
you had
weed through
COVID.
things,
You had
so.
COVID in there, and we couldn't get our medical experts at all. Neither side could get our medical experts during the COVID period, so we lost 2 years there. I mean, I've got one case that's still pending out there that's that long, but not many of them. In medical malpractice cases also, you have to have expert witnesses. You cannot just go in there and go rush to the courthouse and file your filing fee and file your cause of action. You have to go through what's called a pre-suit period in the state of Florida. In Alabama and Georgia, you don't have to do that. In Georgia, you have to have a good faith affidavit. But in Alabama, once you file your lawsuit, you're kind of stuck with what's in the four corners of that lawsuit. So if you discover something later, it's going to be very, very difficult. You got to expand that lawsuit, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. And so you really have to know what you've got before you file the lawsuit. So the typical thing is we do the interview. We've got several interview processes. You got an initial intake interview. You get an interview with a case nurse if we decide to take it one more step, and then you get an interview with me to go further investigative wise. And then after that point, we order all the medical records that are pertinent. Sometimes it's tens of thousands of medical records that we order. It's, in the case that we just mentioned, medical records cost alone were over $6,000 just in ordering the medical records, and then tens of thousands of dollars for our expert witness fees. All said and told, we may have $100,000 in case cost and expenses in a case, and people say, well, wow, that's a lot of money. Yes, it's a lot of money, but when you've got 3 or 4 expert witnesses that you have to have a breach in the standard of care expert, you have to have a causation expert, and you may have to have another expert to kind of tie everything together. If somebody survives, you may have to have an economic expert, you may have to have a life care or vocational planning expert. I mean, right there are 6 different experts that you may need in a catastrophic injury case.
So Larry, we're going to go to a quick break. Phone lines are still open, 850-392-1544. You can always email us at lawcall@wmbb.com. When we come right back, I want to maybe clear up a few things so that people understand what an expert witness actually is. And we actually have a call on the line when we get back as well. So phone lines are still open. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Chris.
Welcome back, LawCall. We don't know who's pitching here. Phone lines are still open, 850-392-1544. You can always email us at lawcall@wmbb.com. We have 2 callers on the line, but Larry, real quickly, let's just wrap up the medical malpractice portion. We talk about expert witnesses. 30 seconds or less, what is an expert witness?
An expert witness is someone who reviews all of the documentation that is pertinent to the case and then has to provide a sworn testimony in the form of an affidavit to say, yes, there is what's called negligence or breach of the standard of care, or there is causation that the breach of the standard of care or the negligence is a legal and direct cause of the injuries caused to the client, and as a result, we can proceed forward in a good faith fashion to proceed with the case. And that's the initial filing of an expert witness affidavit.
And you depend on that expert testimony, whether it's that expert or someone else later, to help establish
right. One of the things that people come in and say, I know it's bad because mama's hurt, or mama is catastrophically injured, or mama died. Bad outcomes are not necessarily indicative of a good medical malpractice case. You have to show that a doctor, hospital, nurse, somebody could have intervened and prevented that outcome and should have intervened to prevent that outcome. Hindsight's 20/20. You don't get to look at it in hindsight. You got to look at it going forward, just as a doctor or nurse or some other type of practitioner is actually looking at the case in real time, and you got to go back and rewind that movie to say, hey, could something have been done?
All right.
Let's go to our calls.
Yeah, go to our calls. We have Sue with a construction question. Sue, go ahead with your call if you're still with us.
Sue, you're in Jackson County. What can we help you with?
Good evening.
Oh, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Okay, this may be our next. Is this Albert with the...
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, this is Sue. Okay, go ahead, Sue.
Good evening. I've got a situation where a general contractor was hired to install various components to the house and to repair it, particularly the roof. The contract called for 5/8 plywood and 2x6 decking to be removed and replaced on the house. Instead of replacing the 2x6 decking and the plywood, the contractor only installed 7/16 OSB board, which was left in the yard about a week to 2 weeks before it was installed and was already weaving and bowing like crazy. It's not properly nailed. There's a lot of nails right beside the rafter that you can see it, plainly see it was not nailed, and yet somehow it passed inspection. I've had an inspector look at it and says it does not pass inspection, and I need to know what I can do about it. And the same contractor also installed windows, but the windows he installed were smaller than the windows that were in the house, and they were too small to fit the frame of the windows, but yet they filled it in with cement mortar, and they're not structurally sound. The roof isn't structurally sound. The windows aren't structurally sound. There's other problems as well. How much time do I have from the time that the contractor says he's finished the job to take action against the contractor?
Well, the first thing you got to do, Sue, is you got to file what's called a 588 notice outlining the defects that you're referring to. And the contractor has an opportunity, and this is kind of crazy, but it's under Florida law because you're in Jackson County, Florida. They have an opportunity to come out and repair, replace, and fix what you've done. And if they don't do that, and your time period is short, you need to do that within 30 days. I think the actual 588 notice has to go out 60 days. I'm not 100% sure about that, but within 60 days of them saying that we're complete or substantially complete in what we're doing. And then they get 30 days or 60 days to come back and make the repairs and so forth. And then if it's not done to your satisfaction, then at that point in time, then you have the right to go sue, and you've laid out what you do. You send them a letter saying you've breached the contract with these ways. You've spelled it out very specifically about the roof, what wasn't done right. Whether or not something passes inspection, that is an indicia that they did it correctly or did it within normal standards, but it's not conclusive that it's of normal standards. And a lot of times the contractors they're pounding on the table, it passed inspection, it passed inspection, it passed inspection, and unfortunately it didn't pass inspection, or it passed inspection because somebody did a poor inspection. And so you have to have your own inspector, you have to have your own contractor, your own general contractor come in and testify to say the roof wasn't done right, the windows weren't done right, here's the list of things that should have been done, and it's now going to cost $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 to repair those costs or to repair the items, and you have to itemize them. You just can't come in and give it an eyeball. You got to get very, very specific to do that. It is a costly litigation to do. It's not something that people take on a contingency fee. That is something that you're probably going to end up hiring a lawyer for on an hourly basis, and you're going to have to hire your expert witness, your own general contractor or your roofing contractor for the roof, a general contractor or a windows contractor for the windows, and the other items that have to be listed out. So depending on the contract that you signed, it may have an attorney's fee shifting provision in it, or it may not. I don't know. You're going to have to take those documents into an attorney's office and go through them, Sue. So I hope that outlines it a little bit for you about what you can do.
Larry, it seems like he's got two prongs here. One is, does it pass code, number one?
Right.
But more importantly, if he does have a contract, he paid to have a particular material put on his house.
Yes, he did.
And it was not up to the contractor to determine to use a lesser product if it's specifically.
And the building inspector is not going to enforce that contract either.
Right. And so if the contractor has breached that contract just on that alone, well, then you got to breach a contract. So, Sue, I hope that helps you with your issue there. And if you need some guidance on finding a right attorney that specializes in construction law, you can give us a call at our office, and we'd be glad to refer you to someone. We have another caller on the line from Alabama, Albert, with a felony question. Go ahead with your question, Albert.
Oh no, we lost Albert.
Well, I guess he's not there.
He's not there, but he had a felony question.
Okay.
Go ahead, tell us what we got, and we'll repeat it back online.
Well, they don't have it, Larry.
They don't have
phone
it.
lines are still open,
Okay.
850-392-1544. You can always email us at lawcall@wmbb.com, and we're going to our last break.
And we're going to the last break for our 750th show. We're celebrating. We'll be right back. The possum.
Yeah. Larry, we're back.
We're back.
You're going to pitch, or I'm going to pitch here. Phone lines are still open, 850-392-1544.
Well, we're at the end.
But if you want to call in, hey, we can. If you can't get your.
We got a lot of shout outs and a lot of pictures to get to. And you got a question from Mr. Neil Rivers up there,
Yeah.
our good friend. Here, fishy. Neil Rivers. He wanted to know the Mount Rushmore, because ask us anything, the Mount Rushmore of country western
music,
according to Chris Young.
I've got Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, George Jones, and man, you got to throw in somebody new. Well, maybe not new. I'm a big Eric Church fan, but you can't ignore Keith Whitley and some of those older guys that kind of paved the way. And I'm sure I'm drawing a blank here on somebody that.
Yeah, see, I'm an old guy, so it's the, you know, it's Waylon and Merle.
I'm gonna put Tom Petty up there because he, you know,
it's close.
It wasn't really
Petty's
country,
close,
you know.
in there, but Johnny Cash.
You know, or maybe I should just put Neil Rivers in there because I've heard him
I was
sing
gonna say
before.
Neil can pick a little bit every now and again. So there you go.
He gets his pitch just right, you know. He's on. Neil Rocket the Rock Rivers. Anyways,
let's go to our shout outs. We got a lot of folks that we need to get to tonight. They found out it was our big show, so here we are. This is the Good Timers group. Oh, look at there. That is Kay Reed's mother-in-law. That is Jody Reed's mama right there in the center, Miss Dale. And I think we've got, let's see, we've got a few more in here. We got Miss Ginger in there. That's the Good Timers Club over at St. Andrews Baptist that allowed me to come in and speak this past week. There's Miss Pat, the bike lady. She bikes all around Bay County, and she's just a sweetheart. She says, I need to come in and see you, Mr. Perry, just to see your bright smile. And look at there. Who is
Dogle.
Jimmy Dogle and his little daughters, Olivia and Isabella. They brought Hank and I some apples. They went apple picking. And so thank you for the apples. They have been delicious. And, of course, here's some of my wife's kin folks. Look at there. There's TJ standing next to my wife. TJ watches up there in Dothan, Alabama. How you doing tonight, TJ? Let's go to the next pictures in here. We've got TJ and Miss Betty. There we go, TJ and Betty and Delane and Lee. And we got Philip back there. Unfortunately, Philip and Pam. Of course, Philip, unfortunately, has passed away. And there's TJ and Pam. They are cousins. That is my wife, Pam, there. And TJ. Man, this is all about TJ tonight. Of course, there's Betty and her birthday party. Here we go. We got one more. Oh, I needed a little Jesus.
Okay,
I had a guy come up to me and says, you're missing something, Mr. Perry. I said, what's that?
Okay.
He says, everybody needs a little Jesus. I said, all right, I like that.
Everybody
needs a little Jesus.
Everybody needs Jesus.
There you go.
Amen to that.
So, and you know, we got Harriet and King watching tonight. We've got Amy Hoyt watching, of course. We got David and Jay who are watching. Jay, the Friday Finds, he's watching. We got Lauren and Nick Utes, and they're two girls. Well, Hudson and Emery are asleep, I hope. But shout out to them as well. And we appreciate, like I said, all of our faithful visitors, watchers, and people that have helped us through the years.
I've got Ashley. She's sleeping because she was sleeping when I left. Boss Man's with her. My mom, Trey Smith, Judy Smith, Neil the Rock Rivers, and he just said I have to add Hank Jr. to that.
Bo Cephas, there you go.
Doug Smith's watching tonight. Miss Pam Myers, Paula Frederick, Arthur Collins watching.
Yeah.
And Mr. Gary Starr.
The Star, G Money.
Yep. So
he is out there.
If you see him out around town, just give him a hug, and he does appreciate kisses too. So
yeah, I mean, that's for the ladies though. That's not for me and you. We do that.
Anyways,
folks,
Larry, congratulations for 750, buddy. I hope we do 750 more.
We're just getting started.
Getting started. Stay healthy. God bless you. Have a great start to your week next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.